Hi everyone, welcome to Riley's Garden. This week we're going to talk about a few different ways for you to support your tomato plants as they grow big and strong and give you tons of fruit this season. A trellis like this is one of my favorite ways to support an indeterminate tomato plant. They can be built really inexpensively for your raised bed. I've done a video on just how to do that, and I'll leave a video down, or a video link down in this video description for you to check out if you don't already have a trellis frame built over your raised bed. A great investment and a really easy and cheap thing to do. But back to how we would grow this tomato plant using this trellis. This gives you the option to prune this tomato plant so you have 1, 2, or 3 main stems growing out of this plant. So you're not limited just to growing a single stem tomato plant like you are when you use a cordon method, which we'll see in a little bit. This gives you a lot more flexibility. A couple of different ways to attach this plant to the trellis. Now, one of my favorites is just using garden Velcro, and I attach the garden Velcro to my garden basket. So you take a piece of garden Velcro and you buy this for maybe $5 for a 200-foot roll. You can cut it up and attach it to right to your garden basket. Take a small piece, 3 to 3.5 inches long, and just attach it around the stem of the plant. That will hold all season long. And the beauty of using something like this is that at the end of the season, you can take these off. You can put this back on your garden basket. They'll be good to use again next season. So you'll get lots of years use out of garden Velcro. Another method for supporting your tomato plants this year is to use single string or cordon method. I'll show you exactly how to do that right now. In order to grow your tomato plants using this method, you have to, number one, have an overhead structure to attach a string to. Ideally, or the way that most people teach how to do this, is you would bury this nylon string into the hole and plant the transplant on top of the string to anchor the string in place. If you've already put your plants in the ground and it's too late to bury the string in the hole with the plants, don't worry. There's another way to do that. And the way to do that is just to staple or attach the string to your raised bed. It's going to anchor it just fine, and you'll have no problems growing all season long with it anchored to your garden bed. Growing this plant like this requires that we grow a single main stem. We don't let any suckers grow on this plant. So that means all of the suckers we have to cut off the plant as it's growing. So that's why this takes a little bit more work than growing it up a trellis, because you have to come out every day. You have to make sure that suckers like this we cut off of this plant, just like that. So how to attach this? Well, you could use the Velcro that we saw a few minutes ago, and you could attach this plant to the string with the Velcro. The Velcro will slide up and down between branches, but it will hold it in place. You could also purchase these clips that are specifically designed to attach to string like this, and then close over it. And the beauty of this design is this little plastic clip doesn't move anywhere. You can get these on Amazon, you can get them on Johnny's Seeds. They're available in a lot of places. They aren't very, very expensive, and you can use them year after year. So all you would do is you would take your plant, take your clip, close the clip around the string and around the plant, and there you have it. Now this plant is a little bit bent over like this because I have not had it supported. You can see these plants are just leaning over like that. So as plants lean over like that, their tips grow towards the sunlight. This one will straighten out itself on its own. I'll put another clip in to give it some help, and put it just around like that. Now some gardeners won't use a clip at all, but what they'll do is they'll just wind the plant around the string and let the plant sort of grab onto the string as it grows up the string. I've done that. It's quite a bit of work, and I ended up breaking the tip off a couple of plants. If you have the patience to do it, it can be done, and you don't have to purchase these little clips. You might want to give that a try. I tend to rush a little bit when I'm in the garden, and it's not worth breaking the tip off a plant early to me. It's easier for me just to make the small investment in these little clips and use these to attach them to the string. I'm going to finish up these 2 plants, and we'll go look at my last and final method for supporting our tomato plants. These 4 plants are 4 determinate tomato plants, and they're 4 determinate tomato plants that I have not yet grown before. This is the first time. These, you can see, I've done nothing since I planted them. I planted them in the ground. They have just flopped over. They've started to, the tips have started to grow towards the sunlight. I've done nothing to support them yet. Today was the first day I came over, and I actually went and I put some garden stakes in the ground, and I used my garden Velcro to attach them to the garden stake. Now you can see this plant here is still bent over at a 90-degree angle for the same reason we talked about before. It was laying on the ground and it was growing up towards the sun. I'm going to leave this alone just like this. This plant tip will eventually redirect itself towards the sun without me trying to force it and potentially breaking that stem. And as it grows up, I'll continue to put Velcro around it to support it. Now, I'll do this one time for you, but I do need to note that the ideal time to do this and put this stake in the ground is when you plant the tomato plant. Anytime you drive a stake in the ground near your plant after it's already in the ground, you do risk damaging the roots. So there is always the risk that I'm going to do some damage to the plant and stunt it a little bit. But just putting this stake beside this plant, and I'm just going to drive it down into the ground till it's sturdy. So that's, I don't know, 2.5 to 3 feet out of the ground. I'll then take a few of my pieces of Velcro and I will attach the main stem of this plant around the Velcro around that main stem, attach it to this garden stake, and then as that plant reaches for the sun and it continues to straighten out, I will continue to, oh, I can probably put another piece of Velcro on it right now, right around, just like that. Beautiful. Now I'll also go in now and I'm going to clean up the bottom of this so none of these leaves are hanging around into the dirt and potentially cause me some disease and kill off my plants. That is looking pretty good. I'll go around and get the front here in a moment. But there you have it. 3 different ways for you to support your tomato plant. A trellis, which is my absolute favorite. The single string method, where you need to prune that plant to a single string all the way up. The young determinate plant, you could use a stake in the ground, but again, depending on how big this plant is going to get, you probably will have to upgrade to using a cage or something like that. First time I've grown this one, so we will see. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next week.